To American wives, are you okay with your husband going to a strip club? I'm an American wife and I'd be more pissed about him blowing that much money on what I think is a stupid thing. I wouldn't care about him looking, just seems like a waste to spend so much. My wife says it's okay as long as I give her half my tips. You're not overreacting, and I'm male. It doesn't what American wives are okay with, it matters what you are okay with, period. And every American wife I know would support whatever your feelings are on the matter in your relationship. You're not overreacting if it isn't something you haven't discussed beforehand. Personally, I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me, because I know he's coming home to me. Honestly, half the time I'll go too. But when he goes with his friends, I know which club he's going to, when he's going to be home, and who he's going to be with. It's not like he's paying for Shreks, because that's not a service you can get at the strip clubs in my area, or most areas, for that matter. I think it's a waste of money, but it's his money to spend. However, if this wasn't something we hadn't talked about before and I found out after the fact that he was going behind my back or lying to me about it, then absolutely I would be upset. There is no consensus on this. You are going to get opinions all over the board. I don't mind when my husband goes with friends, say for gatherings or bachelor parties. I think I'd mind if he went alone. I'm an American husband, not wife, but I guess I can speak to this. For one of my friend's birthday, he wanted to go to a strip club. He had never been to one. I am not a strip club frequenter, but I decided to go along with the group. My wife did not have a problem with this at all. I should note that this was a one-time thing and I didn't blow that much money, maybe $100. If your husband's experience is one-time or occasional, I'm not so sure it's as big a deal as you make it out to be. If it's a habit, then there is a problem. Of course, if you have voiced your displeasure and he continues to go, then there's yet another problem. If you're telling him the marriage is over because he went to a strip club once, then I'm guessing this isn't the only marital issue here. He is pissing hundreds of dollars away. No, I wouldn't be okay with it. If he wants to watch a hot, naked woman dance around, I will gladly do it for him. And he can touch me, too. You got a lot of hell no responses here telling you that he shouldn't have gone to the strip club. That's not my opinion. My husband's first ever trip to a strip club was on me. And while he's not a frequenter, he's been back a few times over the years since, sometimes with me and sometimes without. I do not see this as any sort of big deal. However, I do see the large amount of money spent to be a big deal, and the dishonesty with you to be a huge problem. It's easy to spend at a strip club. Those ones add up. And in certain formats it is really rude to not tip each performer at least a little, but that amount equals lap dances. Again, not necessarily bad, and is financially irresponsible, which affects both of you. Then the most important thing, the dishonesty. Now, it's very possible that he didn't tell you, because he knew you would be against it. That provides a possible reason, but not an excuse. He should have told you and not you two need to address it together honestly. Try your best, even though he was in the wrong here, to be understanding to his potential fears about telling you and his reasons for going. There is no right or wrong feeling. He can't tell you that what you're feeling isn't rational or legitimate. Feelings are feelings, and you can't help them. If you're upset that he went to strip club, then as a respectful husband, he should respect your wishes and not go to a strip club. It's as simple as that. Just because other girls are okay with their husbands going to strip clubs, does not mean you have to be. Don't ever feel like your feelings are illegitimate. Is this the first time this has happened? It could have just been a misunderstanding, but now that he knows how you feel about it, he should not be doing this again. If he disregards your feelings, then there is a problem. To be honest, if my boyfriend went to a strip club, he's taking me with him. Not only do ladies get him for free, but I also like booze. With that being said, it hurts your pride at first. It definitely hurt mine. Most men don't tell their wives, because a lot of them freak right out. Just the thought of their husbands staring at other women makes them really self-conscious about their own looks. I'm a guy and I've never understood going to strip clubs. Why pay for something I can't touch? The answer to this question will vary from person to person. Overall, however, he should have asked before going, as would be expected in any relationship, and should not have spent so much money while he was there. Divorce is a huge overreaction though. This is something you obviously hadn't covered before, and this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Talk to each other about this. Each of you should take a sheet of paper and write exactly what you think and feel, not just one or the other. You should then openly discuss it and come to a compromise of some sort. Just try to only focus on this issue. You don't want to bring up other things, as it won't help the discussion at all. Don't let it turn into an argument. I don't think it costs $300 minus $400 for a lap dance. I'd be okay with my boyfriend going to a strip club with his friends. It's what guys do. Sometimes. But if he spent that much money, then I'd be pissed. That being said, he shouldn't get jealous if I want to go to male strip club with my girls and make it rain a little. A lot of wives I know are cool with it, but it comes to a question of quantity. Once in a while for a good friend's bachelor? Sure, most reasonable wives have no problem with that. Every week? Frick no. $300 minus $400 at a time. Unless you're rich, that's excessive. I grew out of strip clubs by the time I married. So my bachelor party was ho-hum, golf and beer. But my wife actually encouraged me to go to a strip club for my bachelor party. But then again, my wife is pretty awesome. If you are concerned, go to one. There are plenty of wives and girlfriends that go with their man. No, it's not B-jobs in the back. No, strippers don't fall in love with guys. It's a business. If you are going to end a marriage for something married men do all the time, after the fact without discussing it or laying down ground rules beforehand, you're an idiot. As an American wife who is very happily married, I don't see what the big deal is, aside from the amount that was spent. True, he should have told you, but he probably thought you'd freak out, which, if it is the case, there's a lot more wrong here than him seeing naked women. Men are men. Men used to hide pee and mags from their wives. Now it's internet search logs and trips to strip clubs. Most strip clubs have no touching rules in place, so odds are, he's not cheating on you. I've gone to several strip clubs with my husband, and he's gone on his own as well. He comes home ready for some good loving that only I can give him. Let him look. As long as he doesn't touch, he's going to look at women, in the street, on TV, in the grocery store, etc. Some of these women will be dressed. Some will not be. As long as it's you, he goes home too. So what if he looks? It's nature and instinct. Personally, I would be pissed if my husband spent that much money on strippers, but it's not worth losing someone I love dearly over. Don't give up your relationship or marriage over something so inconsequential in the long run. My advice: talk about your trust issues with each other, because you need to be able to communicate, as it is the foundation to any good marriage. If he can't tell you he wants to go to a strip club and expect you to act like a rational adult about it, there are other issues at stake. Talk about it, and good luck. I am not married, so you probably don't want to hear from me, but I personally don't have any problem with a man going to a strip club. Women are beautiful, and men like to look at them. What I would have a problem with, however, is him spending hundreds of dollars at said strip club. I think going to the club, as long as it isn't a frequent adventure, is okay. Spending that much money is not. I've been to the girls' clubs a few times. My guy friends hated it when the girls seemed more interested in me. Read. Tripper got in trouble for trying to take off my top. I've also gone with my guy. You do a few shots in the parking lot, get him and maybe yourself a lap dance, and go home for some good shreks. These are just my views. You have to figure out what is best for you and your relationship. Good luck. I've been to strip clubs with guys, and I wouldn't mind my boyfriend husband going if he was honest about it. But the $300 he spends better come out of his video game budget and not the rent. I'm a guy, never been to a strip club. Most men I personally know who go to strip clubs either did it before they got married, don't tell their wives' girlfriends that they are going, or are in some kind of open relationship. I know very few who are in domineering relationships where anything they say is law, so they just do whatever they want, no matter what their wife wants. So, no, in my eyes it isn't okay, and you have every right to be upset that he did not talk to you beforehand. Marriage establishes certain boundaries. Those boundaries may be different for every couple, but they are very real boundaries that he should have known and respected, instead of just assuming they weren't there. Okay, throwaway time. I've known guys to throw that amount away going to a sports game. That being said, I don't give a rat's ass if my husband goes to the peelers. I also don't care if he looks at peeing. Hell, when I was pregnant and huge, I sent him on a date with an escort. So I'm nowhere near the norm. However, divorce over a single trip to the strip club? Are you looking to get out of the relationship? This seems insecure and over the top and speaks to some much more major issues in your relationship. I give my husband about $100 every few months to blow at the strip club. I'll drive him and some buddies there and home so they can get good and buzzed and not worry about having a safe ride home. I don't care where he gets his motor running, as long as he parks in the right garage. No, definitely not okay with this at all. I don't understand how anyone is either. Anyway, your husband married you knowing you are an American, so that argument is not a very good one aside from myself and all of my American friends not being okay with our husbands doing this.